To the Galactic Council of United Species, this is Earth. We're back. We remember everything. The message wasn't encrypted, dramatized, or followed by military formation. It arrived like an RSVP to a dinner party, only the hosts had been dead for centuries. The transmission came through on a frequency no one remembered programming. It was ancient. Analog. Unencrypted. The kind of signal that should have cracked and sputtered out centuries ago. And yet, it pierced the galactic net like a blade through silk, clear as day. To the Galactic Council of United Species, this is Earth. We're back. We remember everything. No music. No military fanfare. No banners. Just a calm, polite female voice. American accent. Neutral tone. Like someone confirming a dinner reservation. Ambassador Jarthus of the Zyran Dominion narrowed his eyes, 3 of them, at the blinking red dot on the display. Is this some archival glitch? He hissed, lips thin with irritation. No, Counselor, replied the Gryx technician beside him, a hunched insectoid with trembling antennae. Signal origin confirms, Sol system. Earth. A hush fell across the command chamber. Jarthus leaned forward. That system was gone. Wiped clean. Another voice muttered. 1,000 standard years ago. Vanished without trace, added a Valari elder, his milky eyes glowing faintly. No wreckage. No biosigns. Just silence. And now they return, Jarthus growled. With a memo? 10 days later, the Galactic Council held an emergency session on Tyrannix Prime. 11 species. 1 chamber. And 1 empty chair, reserved, for reasons unclear, for Terran representation. The air vibrated with political tension, masked poorly behind layers of protocol. And then she walked in. No guard. No fanfare. Just one human woman, heels clicking against polished obsidian floor. Crisp gray suit. No visible weapons. A tablet in one hand, a cup of something steaming in the other. She reached the center platform and smiled. Ambassador Lee Carter, representing the re-established Terran Accord, she said. Thank you for having me. Apologies for the surprise. A dozen alien minds ran silent calculations. There were no Terran ships in orbit. No escort. No demand. Just her. Jarthus folded his arms. Earth burned a millennium ago. You expect us to believe? Not burned, Lee interrupted, sipping calmly. Withdrawn. A murmur rippled through the chamber. We left. She continued, tone casual. Voluntarily. Needed space. Time to think. You know how it is. You vanished, spat the Fremen general, his armored bulk rattling. Your planets were scrubbed from star maps. Your colonies collapsed. Your satellites weren't ours anymore, she said sweetly. But we watched. We listened. And now we've returned to clean up the mess. She took another sip, glanced at her tablet. I've got a brief statement prepared, if that's agreeable. Jarthus scoffed. By all means. Entertain us. Lee nodded, tapped once. To the members of this honorable council. Her voice echoed through the chamber. We thank you for preserving fragments of Terran culture, however distorted. We acknowledge the trade agreements written on our behalf. The laws imposed. The monuments built atop our ruins. She paused, eyes flicking to each delegate. We also acknowledge the erasure of our history. The claims made on our territories. The experimentation on our surviving outposts. The theft of our technology. Lee set the tablet down gently. We remember, she said, voice still calm. Everything. The Gryx ambassador chirped nervously. Why you are suggesting retaliation? No, Lee said with a tight smile. I'm promising it. A cold silence spread like frost. No one moved. The Valari elder finally spoke. You claim retribution, yet you come alone. What threat do you pose? Lee turned to him, gaze soft. Oh, elder. I'm just a voice. The hand already moved. The board has changed. Across the galaxy, hidden systems flared awake. In former Terran colonies, old terraforming bots surged online. Atmospheres adjusted. Gravitational fields shifted. Massive cloak satellites decloaked over ancient ruins. A small asteroid belt rearranged itself, revealing a single ship, humanoid in design, matte black, hovering silently. On the Frelan frontier, an entire orbital station went dark. Back in the council chamber, a Zyran aide's communicator buzzed. He checked it, and his complexion shifted to gray. "What's wrong?" Jarthus snapped. The aide swallowed. "One of our dreadnought fleets vanished. All telemetry lost." Lee raised a brow. "Odd. Perhaps they wandered too close to something classified." "You declared no war," said the Frelan general. "I haven't," Lee replied. "But you'll find humans rarely wait for declarations. We prefer initiative." Jarthus slammed a clawed hand on the table. "What is it you want?" Lee smiled wider. "Restitution. Borders redrawn. Archives corrected. Apologies issued. And of course, the immediate withdrawal of all foreign assets from former Terran space. And if we refuse?" She leaned in slightly, her tone almost sympathetic. "Then you'll find we've had 1,000 years to study you. Learn your strategies. Predict your moves. We even had time to build countermeasures." A Gryax delegate blinked. "You mean weapons?" "No," Lee said, finishing her tea. "We built memories. Unforgettable ones." She turned to leave, heels echoing once more. Behind her, the council erupted in debate. Some called for diplomacy. Others for preemptive strikes. Lee didn't look back. Outside, a single Terran ship waited in the skies. Silent. Dark. Unarmed. Watching. The Frelan warship Daggerlight entered orbit over New Kyoto, once a Terran colony, now a shared agricultural research zone, under joint Frelan-Zyran administration. A sterile label for stolen land. Commander Trask stood on the bridge, arms folded behind his back, his segmented armor clinking faintly. His voice buzzed through his throat translator. "Status? No heat signatures," his officer replied. "No lifeforms. Dead world. Same as last scan. Dust, ruins, no resistance. Then land the reclamation drones. Let's strip this place for what it's worth before the humans start asking questions." The first drone launched with a shriek of plasma thrusters, cutting through the atmosphere. It touched down on an overgrown landing pad, long reclaimed by nature. Moss and concrete had blurred into one. Then the signal cut. Just gone. No explosion. No data. No ping. As if it had never launched at all. Trask frowned. "Glitch?" "No, sir. Second drone, same path." Another shriek. Another cut signal. The third drone never even reached the surface. Halfway down, it froze mid-air and then vanished. Not cloaked. Not destroyed. Just removed. Trask blinked. "Get me the council." Back on Tyranix Prime, panic had begun to simmer just beneath the formal layers of diplomacy. Zyran Counselor Jarthus paced the private chamber, his claws tapping with uneven rhythm. The Valari elder hovered nearby, motionless as ever. "She warned us," the elder said quietly. "She threatened us," Jarthus spat. "We can't bow to ghosts." "She came alone," the Frelan general said from across the table. "No fleet. No army. Just information. What if that's all they need?" "Enough," Jarthus snapped. "They're playing psychological games. Empty threats wrapped in riddles. We're older. Stronger. More united." The chamber door hissed open. Ambassador Lee Carter stepped in. Same suit. Same smile. Uninvited. The room froze. "I thought this was a closed session," Jarthus growled. "I thought your fleets were untouchable," Lee replied pleasantly. "Seems we were both wrong." Jarthus stepped forward. "You'll leave now." "I will." Right after I deliver a simple message. She set down a small metal case on the table. Smooth, matte black. No seams. The Valari elder tilted his head. Is it a weapon? No, Lee said. It's a mirror. The case clicked open. A projection flared above it, a galaxy-wide map. One by one, red dots began to appear. New Kyoto. Sigmatoria. Arcadia 7. Dozens of former Terran worlds. Each one now marked. Reclaimed? Jarthus hissed. We have patrols in those systems. Yes. We noticed, Lee interrupted, pulling out a small controller. So we asked them to leave. You what? We were very polite. Gave them a countdown. Some listened. Some didn't. The dots pulsed. Half turned blue. Half blinked out completely. Gone? The Fremen general rasped. Lee smiled. Not killed. Not yet. Just removed. Temporarily. We believe in giving second chances. The elder studied the map. These were coordinated. Of course, she said. We've had 1,000 years to prepare. Did you think we just meditated in caves? No military presence, Jarthus said. We've scanned your ships. They're unarmed. And your diplomats wear no claws, Lee replied. Doesn't make you harmless. Jarthus leaned in, voice low. You're trying to provoke us. No, she said softly. We're inviting you to stop. Meanwhile, deep in neutral space, a Valari listening post picked up a fragment of encoded signal, something buried in the old Terran frequencies. The operator, a young psionic named Relon, tried to decrypt it. His mind recoiled instantly. Blood streamed from his nose. The console exploded in sparks. The last thing he heard was a voice in perfect Valari dialect. We remember your experiments. The outpost went dark. Lee's next move came through official channels. A single digital file sent to every government on the Council. Title: Restitution Proposal, Terran Accord. It was formatted like a business contract. Bullet points. Deadpan language. But the contents read like a war crime tribunal. Every colony seized. Every Terran artifact taken. Every unauthorized genetic sample extracted. Dates, locations, perpetrators. Nothing was exaggerated. Nothing was omitted. Jarthus threw the file across the room. Who keeps this level of documentation? The Valari elder stared at the display. Someone who planned to return. On the outer rim, a Fremen mining crew tried to breach an ancient Terran vault sealed inside an asteroid. After 15 hours of drilling, the vault opened, not inward but outward. Inside was a human AI. It smiled. Then it activated every machine in the sector. The entire asteroid belt reconfigured in perfect silence. Thousands of microsatellites unfolded, linking together into a formation. A message blinked across their surfaces in massive Terran script. Kindly remove your hands from our planet. In the council chamber, Lee stood again before the full assembly. No guards. No weapons. Just a presence. We left you alone, she said. For 1,000 years. We gave you every opportunity to grow. To become better. She looked around. You chose differently. The Fremen general snarled. You act as judge jury. No, Lee said. We're the consequence. Jarthus stood. This chamber will not be threatened. I'm not threatening you, Lee replied. I'm informing you. That's the difference between a diplomat and a warning shot. Is this war? Lee stepped back, pausing at the threshold. If it was war, she said, you wouldn't be alive to ask. The Terran embassy didn't arrive in a fleet. It unfolded. One moment, the sky above Tyranix Prime was empty. The next, space shimmered like a heat mirage and bloomed into a massive geometric structure, silent, matte black, unarmed. No energy spike. No propulsion. Just presence. It hovered above the council capital with serene arrogance, casting no shadow. Alien civilians stopped in the streets, pointing silently. Inside the council hall, Ambassador Lee Carter glanced up through the dome ceiling and smiled like someone who knew a secret. I see my office finally arrived. Counselor Jar thus narrowed his eyes. That is not a ship. No, Lee said. It's a conversation piece. The following morning, the Terran Accord issued its first formal decree. All unauthorized infrastructure on former Terran territories will be removed. All biological samples of human origin will be returned. All war records referencing Earth must be reviewed and corrected. You have 5 galactic days to comply. Afterward, we will assume willful resistance. Simple. Neutral. Final. The galaxy didn't know whether to laugh or panic. In the Freeland command chamber, General Vurak leaned over the holotable, surrounded by half his war council. 5 days? He sneered. This is a bluff. Empty threats from a ghost empire. An officer cleared his throat. General, there's been an update from Sector 9. What now? The officer hesitated. The orbital defense ring around Arcadia 7 turned itself off. Vurak paused. What do you mean off? Every satellite deactivated simultaneously. No breach. No virus. Just off. Silence. A second officer stepped forward. Sir, the Terran presence there isn't military. They deployed speakers. Speakers? They're broadcasting. Beethoven. Vurak's knuckles tightened. Music? Yes, sir. Symphony number 7. On repeat. The room fell quiet. One Freeland whispered. They're not attacking. They're performing. On Tyranix Prime, the Zyran ambassador summoned Lee to a private chamber lined with cultural relics, paintings, old alien calligraphy, fossilized artifacts. Lee observed the decor with faint interest. Trying to impress me? These are objects of wisdom and peace, the ambassador said stiffly. You should understand diplomacy, not intimidation. Lee wandered to a glass case. Inside it, an Earth artifact, a rusted, 21st century Terran revolver. Misfiled. Displayed upside down. She pointed. That's mine. It's a relic. It's a message. She looked at him directly. Humans don't archive weapons unless we intend to use them again. Council chambers remained tense. Delegates whispered of anomalies, Terran drones walking through force fields. Comms scrambled by Terran signals that spoke in their own languages. Agricultural systems rewritten overnight with Terran genetic code. None of it aggressive. All of it undeniable. And always Lee smiled. Never raised her voice. Never made a demand. Only suggestions. At a closed-door session, the council finally broke protocol. What is your actual purpose here? Jar thus demanded. Lee folded her hands. Restitution. You said that. Be specific. She looked around. You rewrote our history. Took our colonies. Called our silence surrender. You built legacies on our bones and labeled them yours. Her tone never shifted. We are not here for revenge. We are here for memory. Yours has failed. Ours hasn't. The Valari elder leaned forward. You planned this return. Lee nodded once. Every step. Even the vanishing? Especially the vanishing. Flashback. 1,000 years ago. Earth didn't burn. It slipped away. After the Galactic War, Terran leadership saw the writing on the stars. The galaxy wouldn't allow a dominant species without a leash. So they went dark. Humanity pulled back. Left ruins, ghosts, a few breadcrumbs. And in the void they built. Learned. Evolved. Humans weren't just rebuilding Earth. They were engineering anonymity. They watched their enemies grow complacent. Disorganized. Petty. Then, quietly, they planted seeds. Silent code buried in Council AI archives. Nano-trackers injected into black market tech. Echoes of Earth hidden in myth, culture, symbology, waiting for the right note to resonate. The symphony had begun. Present day. Tyranix Prime. Lee stood on a garden terrace overlooking the city. Next to her, the Gryx ambassador sipped water nervously, trying to make polite conversation. You speak our language perfectly. I should. We wrote half your syntax models back when your species still used smoke signals. The Gryax chuckled awkwardly. Lee tilted her head. Do you know what a Trojan horse is? No? Never mind. You'll understand soon. She offered him a soft smile. The ambassador dropped his glass. Later that evening, Council security attempted to breach the Terran embassy hovering in orbit. No missiles. No infiltration. Just a probe. The probe reached within 100 meters, and vanished. No explosion. No alert. It was simply not there. Hours later, a box appeared outside the Council's main hall. Inside, the probe. Fully intact. Perfectly cleaned. Wrapped in Terran silk. With a note. Don't touch our things. The Council's emergency meeting lasted 14 hours. By the end, only 2 facts remained unchallenged. Earth was back. Earth was not bluffing. Even the Fremen admitted it, quietly. Maybe, one delegate whispered. They never left. As the session ended, Lee approached the central dais. You have 2 days left, she said. Jarda sneered. And if we refuse your terms? Lee's voice stayed calm. Then we stop remembering. Jardas frowned. What does that mean? She met his eyes, smile gone. It means we start acting. At midnight on the final day, the stars dimmed. It wasn't power failure. It wasn't sabotage. The stars themselves were still burning, but something now stood between them. A dark lattice unfolded across several sectors of the galaxy, vast and seamless. Tens of thousands of cloaked Terran constructs revealed themselves at once, their presence blotting out the stars like ink spilled across a map. They didn't fire. They didn't move. They simply watched. The message was loud without a single word. Inside the Council Command Nexus, red alerts flashed across every monitor. Tactical teams barked orders. Security scrambled. Some species attempted to evacuate high-level officials, others tried to trace the origin of the Terran lattice. None succeeded. Jardas, pale and visibly shaken, stood in the center of the chaos, still clinging to a sliver of dominance. This is psychological warfare, he spat. A display? No, Counselor, said the Valari elder softly. It's punctuation. Lee Carter arrived unescorted. Again. She walked into the Nexus as calmly as she had the day she first appeared, unarmed, unbothered, uninvited. This time, no one stopped her. She stepped to the center dais, looked around at the chaos, and sighed with a hint of mock disappointment. We offered peace. We gave 5 days. You spent 4 of them arguing about protocol. The Fremen general stepped forward, trying to reclaim authority. You don't have jurisdiction here. Lee turned her head slightly. General, at this point I don't think your government has jurisdiction here. He went silent. Jardas recovered enough to snarl. You bring weapons to our sky and speak of peace? No weapons, Lee said. No invasion. No assault. Just presence. She touched a small panel on her wrist. A holographic display opened across the Nexus wall, revealing real-time data from across the galaxy. Shipyards stalled. Jump gates locked down. AI networks jammed. Navigation systems rewired. Everything still functional. Just, no longer under Council control. You didn't notice, she said, voice steady. We didn't shut your systems down. We borrowed them. She gestured to a blinking corner of the hologram. That's your Central War database. We updated it for accuracy. You're welcome. You hacked the entire Council infrastructure? Someone choked out. Lee's voice remained neutral. No. We designed it. Centuries ago. Before we disappeared. We left back doors. You built your civilization on our bones. We just remembered where we buried the keys. In orbit above the Council homeworld, Terran ships began to reposition. Still silent. Still unarmed. But now they formed words, massive letters stretching across orbital paths, visible from every surface below. You forgot. In the Nexus, the Gryax ambassador finally broke his silence. He stepped forward, antennae quivering, eyes wide with something that looked like awe. Why return now? He asked. Why wait so long? Lee looked at him with something close to kindness. Because we wanted to see what you'd become without us. You had a chance to grow into something better. She turned her gaze across the room. You didn't. Jar thus bared his fangs. So what now? You rule us? Enslave us? Turn the galaxy into your empire? Lee's expression shifted, just slightly. Empire? She echoed. No, Counselor. That's your language. Your instinct. She walked slowly toward the center of the dais, then stopped, turning to face the gathered leaders. We're not here to control, she said. We're here to correct. All at once, throughout every major sector, Terran Archives satellites activated. They began projecting corrected histories, untouched footage from ancient wars, transcripts of diplomatic betrayals, recordings of human aid missions rewritten by alien hands. The galaxy was being reminded. Not rewritten. Just exposed. Truth flooded across networks. And species who had long believed humanity had been warmongers saw something else: restraint. Sacrifice. The long game. Lee paused as the silence in the Nexus grew heavier. Memory is a weapon, she said. And you've disarmed yourselves with denial. The Valari elder bowed his head. What is it you truly want? Lee turned to him. We want you to remember, she said. Not fear. Not obey. Just remember. What we gave. What we lost. What we let you take. Her voice hardened slightly. And to understand that next time, we won't walk away. In orbit, one final transmission was broadcast galaxy-wide. It wasn't encrypted. It didn't carry threats. It was one sentence, spoken in 100 languages, by different human voices. We remember everything. Then the Terran ships vanished. All at once. No flash. No exit burn. No trace. Just gone, again. But this time, everyone knew they were watching. Back in the council chamber, no one spoke for a long time. Then the Fremen general muttered. What do we do now? The Valari elder looked out the window toward the starless gap. We rewrite our textbooks, he said quietly. And this time, we get the ending right.